Ladies and gentlemen, it is that day of the week in your calendar with a big red ring around it because it's BUCS Super Rugby brought to you by Yoti, and tonight we are down in the dip for Cardiff Met versus Durham University with a kickoff coming to you live at 6:30. Well, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Kincoid in the land of hymns and arias, where the heavens have duly opened and there has been a deluge this evening. It is clearing up a little bit, but there's a bit of spatter around, but nothing that these boys can't handle. And a man who knows this turf better than anyone else is former Cardiff Met captain Aled Evans, who's here to join us with his expert opinion once again. Aled, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Mate, great to have you along again. You saw Cardiff Met last week. They bounced back, they beat Leeds Beckett. What were the positives?
Yeah, you know, it was a good performance. It was difficult conditions really, but they managed to get a game going. They started well, the set piece went well, driving lineouts. I think they scored 2 tries, but you know, I think Leeds started to claw back, but it showed great character to come back there and managed to seal the win really. Okay, now Cardiff Met did the double over Durham last year, but only by a whisker. What do they bring to the party? Yeah, you know, you're always in for a tough encounter really when you play Durham, and you know, they have a good set piece again, like I said, so it'll be a good encounter out there again today. But yeah, they have a good backline as well, like to throw it about in the right area, so you know, we're looking for a good game tonight.
So in for a hell of a game. It's 4th plays 5th as we take a look at the league table, and we can see just how congested it is at the moment. As you see, Durham there on 19 points, Cardiff Met here on 17 points by virtue of bonuses, so tries could be crucial. The people they're chasing is Bath up there on 22 points, and it is a rearranged fixture week this week, so there is only one more fixture that's unfolding, and that is also tonight. It's taking place at 7:30 p.m. tonight at Kingston Park up in the northeast, where New Boys Cardiff are looking for their first win. Northeast switch with Cardiff this evening for both fixtures, and we'll bring you regular updates from that game. So that's the table, that's the fixtures. We all know what's at stake, but someone who's been with us the whole way is our sponsors, Yoti.
It was so much easier because I had already set up on the app about 3 months ago actually when it first came to the island.
I really like how simple it was to use.
It's the kind of convenience we want in this holidays that we live in.
Like, you don't really want to carry your passport around on night out, you're always going to have a phone on you.
The convenience to be able to go up and get my phone and just scan a thing.
It's just easy, you have all your stuff in one place.
It makes life a lot easier when you're trying to prove your age, and quite versatile as well.
Hey, many thanks to our sponsor there, Yoti, integral to the league's success. And speaking of success, Kincoid is such a difficult place to come and win. How did Durham do it, and what makes it so special for the Archers?
You know, we always have a big crowd down at Kincoid. They're basically like the 16th man. I know it's quite cliche, but it is nice having them as close to the pitch and having their input. But again, it's about playing probably in the right areas for Durham today. You know, again, this piece going, make sure their line-up is functioning, and then hopefully then they can kind of get this crowd to go a bit quiet, and hopefully they can get on top and maybe get a win.
And in one word, your prediction?
A Met win.
A Met win, but I wouldn't pay too much attention to Ali. We've got 2 great sides here, and we can't wait for the game. But that's our views. We caught up with the coaches, so let's hear from them while we dash up to the commentary booth. Danny, great to see you always down at a blustery Kincoid. Durham coming down there, a tough prospect.
Absolutely, they've really started the season like a train. You know, probably one disappointing performance against Hartbury, but in every game that we've seen them, they look a really good outfit this year.
You had a bit of a stumble in October, but you got it back on track against Leeds Beckett last week. What are the differences at the moment?
I think mentally, and I think you know, the quality of the rugby, the quality of the programme. Sure, you know, if you're not on your game and you don't bring the level of physicality and in sort of intensity that you need, I think you know that any game could be tough. So we're looking forward to tonight.
Now, Met were a pillar of consistency with team selection last year, but you're mixing it up a lot more. Is that because of the Welsh League, or is it because of competition for places?
A bit of both, really. I think it started with maybe us securing that position in the Welsh League, and that's gone really well, which has in fact in turn given us a few selection decisions to make. So I'm not sure we know our strongest side yet, and I think over the coming weeks that's going to be one of the coaches' challenges, is to really nail down what we think our best side is moving forward.
Okay, and as we slowly get drenched, I must be very British and speak about the weather. Is this going to make a difference to the game plan tonight?
I didn't realise it was raining. This is normal Welsh weather, and we're excited. By kick-off time, the sun will be back out, and it'll be really beautiful down here.
I'll believe it when I see it, Danny. Look forward to seeing your boys out there.
Thank you.
Alex, we'll keep it brief because it's beginning to pour here. You had a stumble against Hartbury, you bounced back last week, your players must be excited for this challenge tonight.
Yeah, I think if you're not excited to come and have a game of rugby on a Wednesday, that's what you've prepped all week for, so that's exactly why you should be excited.
Well, speaking about preparations, I know that the weather is a little bit suboptimal in the northeast, but had you prepared for this kind of conditions?
Well, we're in the north, so we must be used to it slightly. Probably not as wet as this, but this is warm.
Wow. And you're missing a few players because they're excelling at Falcons at the moment. Ben Stevenson, Charlie Wilson. You've got some good men coming in though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Probably got a better squad than we had last year in terms of depth and quality. So, you know, as much as we'd love to them to play, it's an opportunity for somebody else to sort of say, you know, what they can deliver.
All season we've seen you scoring tries from everywhere, but it's tonight a night where we're going to see you keep it tight and see a lot of forward dominance.
I think we've got to play what goes on. I mean, if the weather stops, it'll be a lot easier. It's going to be more difficult too, but they're challenges to our skill set more than anything else.
Excellent. We're looking forward to seeing you out there. Cheers. Well, welcome everybody to Kincoid. Here's some of the recent form of Cardiff Met. I mentioned their stumble in the middle against Nottingham Trent and Northumbria away, but they have got it on track, having kicked off with a win against Cardiff, one against Loughborough, and most recently Leeds Beckett here at their fortress. They are going to look to get their title challenge back on track with another win and gain some valuable momentum. Their prospect tonight though is a high-flying Durham. Such a disappointing season last year. They kicked off this season with 3 wins against Bath, much fancied Exeter, New Boys Cardiff, a big stumble against Hartbury, but they again, just like Met, they got back on track last week with a 32-19 win against Loughborough. So it's welcome to Kincoid, where it is wetter than the Narberth Otters' pockets, who incidentally inflicted Cardiff Met's first league defeat of the season in the Welsh Leagues a fortnight ago, but since then they bounced back with an important home win against Beckett, as I mentioned, and they're looking to roll on with a win tonight against Durham. Sean Howard will be looking to back up his 2-try performance from last week with another barnstorming performance in the hooker jersey. He partners feisty Sam Cochran and Will Hurd in a front row, missing Harry Seaward through a bout of tonsillitis. In a game full of individual battles, Luke Northball will be leading the midfield charge from 13. With 3 tries already this season, he's in red-hot scoring form, but must also be on his defensive best as he faces another outside centre with a nose for the line in Miles Rawston-Rudd. That man, Rawston-Rudd, has been a revelation this season. His ability to find himself in the right place at the right time has made him the Palatinate most deadly with the line beckoning. Kicking consistency has been a problem, but new boy Fawcett has been handed the kicking tee. Can the Kiwi be the difference? The side is led by Welshman Colin Markham, a Llandovery College graduate. He'll be looking to get one over his countrymen, though he did represent England students in the summer in France. As you can probably hear and see from our cameras, it really is difficult conditions to even be commentating, let alone out there playing. I'm joined up here by Aled Evans. Aled, what do you make of it tonight?
But you know, I think whoever plays that right territory battle today will come out on top.
How many sort of different game plans do you formulate when you're approaching the season, or is it on a week-by-week basis that you look to adapt the kind of play that you implement on a fixture?
Yeah, it goes by game really, you know. Sometimes it could be sun shining and you need to throw it about, but sometimes, you know, when it's wet and windy like today, you need to adapt your game really and keep things nice and tight. So yeah, it's on a week-to-week basis, and whoever's thrown you on the day, you need to be able to adapt and react really.
So you have intrinsic knowledge of the Archers, which forwards will be putting their hand up to get that key momentum on such a greasy pitch and a blustery park.
Yeah, you'll be looking for your big ball carriers really, the likes of Sam Cochran really do it up in the midfield and give you some go forward, the likes of Jack Arthur as well, again over the gain line. They've gone for a good balance in the back row today with the likes of David Rabasniak, Harvey Scott and Dan Thurston, so that gives you a good balance throughout the back row. So you're just looking really for people to put their hands up really and get over the gain line and carry and do the nitty-gritty stuff today. So I don't think this is the time and the place to be really chucking the ball around today. Yes, well, you mentioned Jack Arthur. You gave a man the match in the opening game against Cardiff.
at the Arms Park. He's captaining the side today in the absence of Aled Ward. What does he bring in terms of leadership?
Yeah, look, it's a big loss really losing Aled Ward, but Jack Arthur, he's filled the spot in really. So yeah, he's good defensively. He gets the leg chops in, but really with ball in hand as well, he likes to throw it about. So he's become that all-rounded game really that he's worked on in the last 3 years at Cardiff Met.
And we're surrounded by the ultras of Cardiff Met. We can see the customary tunnel being formed by, well, I'm imagining the rest of the club in there. What's that feeling like coming through the tunnel as you're entering your home turf?
Yeah, it's good for the boys really to allow us to go through and give us a bit of a boost before we go out there. But yeah, it's nice to have them there, and they'll be singing the songs loud and clear for the full 80 minutes, I expect.
Yeah, I imagine some of it will be coming through our microphones as we're literally right in the hub. We're in the stand at the back, being blown from left to right. As we can see hear a little bit of a ripple as the Cardiff Met players begin to emerge. But you played Durham twice last year. I did touch upon this in the build-up. What is it about Durham that Met should be looking at? Because there's a lot of returning players.
Yeah, they are. They're a tough team to break down, really. So I expect it's going to be a really tough first half to 60 minutes where there's going to be hell for leather, really, and just trying to get over the gate line. The gate line is going to be a massive battle. Whoever starts getting over there, and getting front football will start to come out on top. But yeah, they are a good team. They have a good set piece. Like I said, their line-up functions well, and hopefully their scrum will function well today. So I think Cardiff Met need to be on top form really to hold this Durham team out today.
Yeah, you mentioned their line-out functioning well. They're captained by Colin Markham, who is a Welsh lad himself. Do you ever come across him in any of the age groups when you were playing?
No, I haven't come across against him, but I have played against him in BUCS Super Rugby. He's a very, very good competitor, really good in the line-out, gets around the park a lot. So yeah, it's one to look forward to tonight.
And probably one of the big things that Cardiff Met are trying to deal with at the moment is competing on two fronts. They're going so well in the Welsh leagues. I said they had their first loss against the Narberth Otters only a fortnight ago, but they're all but assured of safety in that league now. What sort of things do you think that they're having to overcome this year that they might not have last year?
Yeah, look, it's difficult to balance both fronts really. The Welsh Championship offers a different kind of perspective really. In the BUCS Rugby, you kind of you've got to work on your physicality, your set pieces got to be switched on. But yeah, it's like our balance really and putting things across over the BUCS Rugby. So it allows the boys to get that kind of physicality front which they need to be able to progress really in this BUCS Rugby. But yeah, it's difficult to manage both, but I think that's what Danny Milton and Ian Gardner want to do, is produce a good programme which they are being really successful on both fronts.
Well, you've been plying your trade in the Welsh Premiership for Bridgend. How have you found the difference, the step up from BUCS?
Yeah, it is physical. Like I said, I touched on the set pieces. I think it's a step up again. But the gain line and the physicality is probably a bit more fierce than the BUCS Super Rugby. But it is a bit slower. But again, it's for me to be able to adapt really and come away from that kind of dual rugby that the Super Rugby brings and kind of concentrate on my game more as physicality.
Yes, that's UA rugby being brought into question, and probably we're anticipating a little bit of a forward orientated game, but there are so many threats across both sides in that pack. Both back rows are teeming with quality. Harvey Scott, he was player of the year for Met last year. Davin Rabasniak, he scored in this corresponding fixture last season, while Durham, Chris Johnson, the man they know as Pingu, is a try machine himself. He got two memorable ones in what turned out to be a championship defining performance against Northumbria at the back end of last season, while Josh Basham is in for influential Ben Falls. But what a man to bring in. He's been capped at 16s, 18s and 20s for England. He featured all 5 games in the Six Nations and in the World Championships. What a man to have to bring into the mix, Alan.
Yeah, what a player to bring in. Really, I don't think he's been really getting much game time really with Durham this year. But I think hopefully now in this sort of conditions, hopefully this will go for his favour really, and he'll be able to carry hard off 9 and put Durham on the front foot, and hopefully they can kind of capitalise on that then.
Absolutely, as those ultras continue to brave these conditions. The Guard of Honour gets longer and longer. It's been joined by some of the Cardiff Met substitutes, some of the Durham substitutes as well. They've had this long old journey down from the northeast. Alan, did you find those journeys quite punishing when you were playing last year, going up to the northeast, to the Northumbrias, the Durhams?
Yeah, they are difficult places to go, and it is a lot of travelling. But I think it's part and parcel of the BUCS Super Rugby. It's kind of deal with it and kind of take it in your stride really.
So here they come, the Palatinates, We've only lost once this term so far, a humbling at the hands of Harbury, but one they are looking to erase from the memory. They got things back on track against their old foes Loughborough last week in a fantastic performance, scoring tries from everywhere as they tore the African Violets apart. But a tougher prospect lies in wait here tonight, with Cardiff Met at their fortress Kincoy coming out to the roars of their home fans and all sporting poppies on their shoulders in nod of Remembrance Day on the 11th of November. So the teams are on the field. We're waiting for the referee John Darcy. He's just doing up his laces before we get this BUCS Super Rugby fixture sponsored by Yoti underway. Running a few minutes short, but that'll be made up in a shortened half-time. Both sets of coaches requested just a 5-minute break, so it doesn't sound like they're going to be going into the sheds. It'll be a quick turnaround, taking into consideration the inclement conditions. Ball is in Harry Johnston's hands of Cardiff Met. They're playing right to left, or left to right, as you can see on your screen, in the dark blue with the red shoulders, playing against Durham in their most traditional of colours, the unmistakable Palatinate, as Johnston kicks long, and it's fielded by the man we were speaking a second ago, Josh Basham, with all that England age group experience, who carries hard. Good to take one nice and early and get the momentum. That first contact so crucial when you're in these wet and windy conditions and a hungry Cardiff Met on your back. They're going to look to exit here, and they do so via the box kick, where Jack Arthur is waiting. That's a tactic we saw at the Arms Park a few weeks ago, that Jack Arthur almost taking the position of the number 8, fielding these long kicks so you can either barrel back, but his distribution's good enough to get it out to the fast men.
Yeah, look, I think they put Jack Arthur in there for a number of reasons, really, because sometimes he can carry into contact and maybe make them yards, but sometimes maybe get 2 passes in and maybe get in the wide channels where the defensive line is kind of disjointed.
So Sean Howard throws the first line out, and it's a crisp one as they find Luke Northmore on the cut, carrying at pace. A good first carry from him. He has been in fantastic form for the Archers so far this season. Harvey Scott next with the carry, and there we go, Jack Arthur, speaking of him a second ago, but it's a 2-man hit and he's driven back. That's the kind of defence that Durham will be looking to call upon to quell the Archers. Will be coming at them all night.
Yeah, I think it's important for Matt Marsh and Harry Johnston to be bossing it forward back, really. I think they need to get them in the right areas, make sure the pot of 3 are there set, and I wouldn't pass the ball unless there is 3 there, because you need to be able to circulate with the ball and go from there.
Well, some very impressive handling and some consistent play from Cardiff Met there. Yields a penalty on the Durham 10-metre line. And Harry Johnston immediately points to the poles. Quite a bit of confidence. You can hear this wind just flying through the venue at the moment. The plastic bags that are covering our cameras and the hoods of all the jackets of the spectators who are braving these conditions manfully. And Harry Johnston, he's been mixing with Russell Bennett in the Welsh Leagues and BUCS. I think they're kind of neck and neck for the 10 jersey at the moment, so he'll want to slot this one to settle the early nerves. Whoa, it just sails to the left of the upright, but a fantastic connection and room to spare. As you can see from the way the ball flew off the tee, the wind raging from left to right here. So Cardiff Met with a healthy advantage, and one they'll want to capitalise on in this first half, Alan.
Yeah, the wind plays a massive part really in a game of rugby, so I think it's needed to take things, and go from there really. I think it's, not a really good exit now by Durham, but I think Cardiff Met just knocked the ball on there.
Well, a mistake there from Durham, from the 22 dropout, charge down, and Met did have an opportunity, but it's flew through the hands, and the referee is playing advantage from a high shot after the ball ricocheted into the Palatinate hands. So an easy let off for Durham after making the initial mistake. There's the kick just drifting. It drifted left past the pole and then back right round the back of it, so it's a difficult win to judge. As new boy Kipper Fawcett has a start that delights the home crowd as he slices one off the boot. But the man from Waikato, I'm sure, has had supporters in his ear before, and he'll be brushing that off like water off a duck's back.
Yeah, Joe, it's evident that how strong the wind is really. I think it's important for Cardiff Met to be disciplined here and, you know, just kind of no penalties and no easy outs and keep Durham under a lot of pressure in their own half.
First line out for Durham, and Oscar Bowe finds his man and they build them all, but that wind you just brought up, Aled, that fearsome left to right swirl drags the ball onto the Durham side illegally. And it's a scrum for Cardiff Met. It's the first time the front rows will be packing down. I mentioned Harry Seaward missing through tonsillitis. What sort of loss is that for this front row?
Yeah, Harry Seaward was a great player, really. You know, not just in the with ball in hand. He's a good scrummager, but I think his strength is his ball in hand. So I think, you know, Will Hurd coming in today, he has a job to do and a point to prove, really.
Yes, Will Hurd on the radar for Scotland 20s, if the rumour mill is to be believed. So he'll want a big performance here on the stream tonight. Eyes watching from all over the world. It's an international audience we've been pulling in of late for this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, brought to you by Yoti. It's a messy one, the Met come away with it, but then Spill and Durham are on the break, and it's through that man, Chris Johnson, Pingu they call him. He continues to charge on, so difficult to bring down. And this is the first time we see Durham attack through their backs, their much vaunted backs, and there's Miles Rawston-Rudd. 4 tries to his name so far, 7 points from the boot, but his real threat is crossing the paint. Quick line speed brings things to a halt temporarily before Paddy McJewell looks inside to Toby Woods. Not too much progress being made by Durham, and there's that wind again as McJewell skews one straight out on the full. But prior to that, the line speed that I was complimenting from Met was too fast. It's a penalty to Durham.
Yeah, Joe, it's evident that Durham are not afraid really to go wide in this weather. So I think Cardiff Met need to be aware of that, to make sure they get their width in defence, so Durham don't go around on the outside on them.
But Durham make absolutely sure of that. And they're lining up for a line out just past the 22 in Durham territory in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, brought to you by Yoti. And this is an ideal attacking platform for the Palatinate. But Oscar Bowe needs to throw his dart straight and true first. And he does so by going to the banker ball at the front. They're driven back initially by a shunt from Met, but they've steadied themselves. And they're now beginning to march forward, eking forward. The ball is securely at the back, but it's driven down. Looks like the good work being done by Sam Cochrane on the far side. And McJewell finds his inside centre, who's bursting through at pace, not held in the tackle. He gets up to steal a few more lines. McJewell carries. He's dealt with by the Met defence, and they're beginning to build a few phases here. His knees are on the floor, the referee calls tackle. It's a little dink through. It's a scrappy one to have to deal with. Didn't look like the right option, but it looks like it was a free shot, in fact. The referee finding an infringement.
Yeah, I think that's 2 offside penalties now. I think Jack Arthur needs to have a word with the boys now. I think it's in areas of the field where Durham have been dangerous, so I think they need to get on the back foot really and kind of stop giving away penalties in areas which Durham can put the ball over the posts.
Yeah, discipline going to be key here tonight. Our yards are going to be hard fought, and if you're giving away penalties, it does give that chance to put boot to ball. Take it up the field behind enemy lines as we see Kipper Fawcett tee up his first kick of the night. A heavily strapped right quad. We've got a prime view from our commentary booth here as he looks to get Durham off the mark and open the game's account. And he judges the wind almost perfectly, but doesn't quite have the juice to get over the crossbar. It bananaed round, bending it like Beckham, but that wind just stopping it in its tracks, falling short of the crossbar, and Met get a let off and a chance to launch it downfield, which they do to the man who's just kicked. And Julie knocks on.
Yeah, it's a great target platform now for Cardiff Met. Midfield scrum options both sides, so hopefully now they can kind of capitalise here and maybe either score or get some go forward.
So rather ambitious, going to try and collect the ball there on the half volley after Harry Johnson had stung it low through the air, taking the wind. Kipper Fawcett, a couple of good touches, a couple of ones to forget in this opening salvos between the two sides. And this is prime time attacking platform for the Archers. As Matt Marsh puts the ball in, it's not a clean hook. Harvey Scott helps it along, and it's picked up from the back from Dan Thurston, the Bristol Academy man. In for his injured captain Aled Ward, and in for Will Gibson. But it's a penalty going back to the scrum, it looks like.
Claps on this side, okay?
As we have a chance to throw down to our roaming reporter Alex, who's got some touches from the touchline.
Well, Joe, considering the conditions, it's so blustery. I mean, I've been blown over here basically, but considering the conditions, the crowd here is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if we were expecting this many fans to come out given the weather today, but as usual, there's so many Cardiff Met fans here. All the lower teams are out here tonight and they're in full support and they're in full voice. I mean, they're a little quiet now, but earlier on they were singing, and I think they are definitely going to be the 16th man out on that pitch tonight.
So quiet at the moment because you can hear a pin drop as Harry Johnston tees up this kick. He came closer with his first effort. This one is closer to the post, a little bit more infield. He'll be wanting to return with 3 points. And he bisects the post on this occasion as you hear the crowd erupt. As Alex said, very, very noisy when the Archers are in the ascendancy. Johnson with a kick under his belt. The Archers with their first points of the game as they lead Durham 3 points to nil with 11 minutes played.
Yeah, I think it's important now for Cardiff Met to exit now really. I think Durham have had 2 chances to exit and they've been quite poor, so hopefully now Cardiff Met can have a good exit strategy now and hopefully applies the pressure on Durham in the right areas of the field.
Playing with the wind in the first half comes with its own pressures because you know that you have to convert that chance with the wind behind your back, because otherwise you're going to be fighting into it in the second half and you don't really know what sort of points handicap it gives you, does it?
Yeah, you know, you just got to kind of play it by minute really. The wind can always change, the weather can always change, but again, when the wind's behind your back, I think it's about playing in the right areas, using your kick chase to be effective really and apply pressure on the opposition in the right areas of the field.
Well, we see some smart play by kicking long into the backfield. Durham try and play it out, but Luke Northmore is on hand to wrestle Matt Walsh into the turf. Matt Welsh, a scorer versus Bath at the Rock in their big game.
Number 5.
Tackled down there. And Met again, these penalties are beginning to kill them a little bit when they're in good positions. The pressure's on Durham, they're letting them off the hook too easily.
Yeah, I don't think it was David Bazniak's fault then. I think it was Eduardo Bolocco should have rolled away. It just allowed David Bazniak to have a free hit really and not allow the opposition to kind of clear him out.
Well, they have a chance to make amends here through George Cladding in for Zach Cloud. Zach Cloud picked up a knock on the hip in training on Monday night, so George Cladding getting a shot. Somewhat of a maverick, I'm told. Unpredictable, bit of a magician. Be interesting to see what he does, especially if he gets into open field tonight. But he's going to have one to chase here as Marsh shapes for the box. He goes high so that we can't see because of the stand. And into the arms of Kipper Fawcett. He pouches this one securely. That'll be good for the confidence.
Yeah, that's quite poor then. I think the 22 was there. I think for Matt, he should have just dropped it outside the 22 and allowed a kind of a kick and compete there. He was just allowed in the 22 and he managed to get a clean mark and an extra strategy there now from Durham.
Well, Fawcett puts the laces through it this time, and we find ourselves between the halfway line and the 10-metre line of Durham territory. Very difficult conditions for these hookers tonight. But it's currently Cardiff Met a 1 from 1 as he's delivered a clean, dry ball to centre Eddie Baloko at number 4, and that's very nice ball and something to build on for Cardiff Met as it gets to the back to the man who just threw it in there, Sean Howard, but Marsh attacks. Jack Wright, the rumbustrious Jack Wright, scored a fantastic try against Cardiff with some big ball carrying, but this time
12, let the goal.
Metcalf up an error and it's a penalty on the 10-metre line. A little bit of afters, nothing too severe. And would you believe it, Sam Cochrane's there to break things up.
Yeah, I think that's what you're looking for kind of in these conditions. You're looking for a good set piece and a bit of a midfield platform really. You know, in these weather you don't want to go going wide in early phase. So it was a good initial carry by Jack Wright, but I think he was held in the tackle which give Durham the penalty.
Boys, Mark's here.
So Durham again.
Okay, tackle completed, must release.
Give the ball to Kipper Fawcett. And finds his touch once more. He's back in the groove, is Kipper Fawcett. And Durham now have a throw. Just past the halfway line on the outskirts of the 10. Oscar Bowe, he's 1 from 2. Can he improve those odds to 66%? He again goes to the safety net at the front. Colin Markham, the man from Llandovery, we mentioned a couple of times so far. Durham, due to this punishing wind, are being forced to play it out. They go to number 30, Matt Welch again, who's slammed into the floor, and it's a penalty at the breakdown. And that's something for the crowd to cheer about.
Yeah, and again, I think, you know, you kind of knew the set piece, you knew what was going on. I think the Durham support plays were kind of lazy in their approach then. You kind of know where the areas of the field you're going to attack, so I think the support play should have been. You should never be losing ball off first phase ball release because you kind of know where it's going to go. But yeah, you know, good turnover by Dan Rabazniak, and you know that's why he's in the team to kind of to slow ball down and get penalties like that.
Rabazniak is just a turnover machine, is he? Once he gets a sniff, you can't get him off the ball.
Yeah, he's got a good centre of gravity, you know, not the tallest of boys, so when he gets over the ball he's really hard to move, and he has some big quads and some big glutes. It's quite difficult to shift him, but yeah, great player.
A vice-like grip when he gets over the ball. Well, we mentioned him a second ago, George Gladding, a man who I know not too much about. We mentioned he's a little bit of a maverick. Well, looks like he's got a long kick in his box of tricks as he relinquishes Harry Johnston of the responsibility. He finds himself 53 metres from the Durham poles. And what a way to announce himself to this home crowd if he can split the poles from this distance. Doesn't look like he got a hold of that one quite right, and it sails quite far to the right as we go down to Alex on the touchline, who's with the fans.
Well, I said they were here making a racket, and they've actually brought, it seems, their own racket. Boys, just explain to me a sec. You've got a saucepan in your head there, and you've got, is it a tray, a bacon tray? What is up with the kitchen utensils tonight?
We're just making some noise for the archers. We're just making it as much noise as possible.
Is this a weekly thing? Is this something that the first team have asked you to do tonight, or are you just doing it for a bit of
Our
fun?
social sacks have asked us to do just for this game today, just so we can make as much noise for the boys as we can.
Is this a punishment for the freshers? Are you freshers, or?
It's mainly for the freshers, yeah, but it's more of a laugh more than anything, so anybody that wants to get involved can get in on it. So.
And the atmosphere here at Rugby One, how great is it coming down here supporting the boys and matches like this, even in conditions as blustering as well?
Best atmosphere in the league.
Fantastic, boys, thanks very much. There we go. Great atmosphere.
in the league, he says, as Jack Arthur gets the pulses racing with a big carry. But once again, it comes back to us and it breaks down with a knock-on. How about that, Alan?
Yeah, that's twice now. I think Harry Johnson can position himself a bit closer to 9 so the ball's not travelling in the air so much and the wind can't get to it. So if I was Harry now, I'd be pushing my back line in a bit and getting a bit narrower to my 9 so the ball doesn't go in the wind.
Sagely words there from Alan. The errors really hampering Cardiff Met at the moment, but they are playing in the right areas. That kick from Gladding just going astray. As we stop for a break for the influential Colin Markham. Spoke to him last week. Very lively character, a totem of this Durham side, and a man they won't want to be going off through injury anytime soon.
No, he's been good at the line so far. I think he's taken 2 front balls, and I think it's important that Durham now, regarding the line out, is to go front, because I think they didn't have much success going in the middle, especially the wind. I think it's important now to go front and make sure they keep getting their set piece to function really, and maybe hopefully go from there and get some success in this game.
But when you're dependent on one option, that being Markham at the front, surely it's only a matter of time before the opposition, in this case the Archers, start to pick it off.
Yeah, that is a fault of it really, but if you back your process and you manage to get your lift and you throw and you jump, everything to be spot on, hopefully then you can kind of win your own ball.
Scrum here, around about the 10-metre line of the Durham half. Ball in Jacob Collins' hands, and the scrum is steady as it has been all night, and they pick off the back. Drew Basham, who tries to slip one out the back door. It goes to the floor, but it hasn't gone forward. Durham regroup. It's slow ball as they set themselves through Chris Johnson. Fantastic scampering in the outer channels, but just as able in the loose. As Collins gets his hand on the ball and shapes the box. It holds in the air, such a difficult one to read, but Basham expertly consumes it as it comes down out of the night sky. Durham looking good here. McJewell puts it on the toe, but it's cleaned up by Chris Lewis. Chris Lewis, who scored that barnstorming try against Cardiff, the opportunistic intercept into one of those famous corners of the Arms Park, but he's been turned over, and this is a chance for Durham. They go narrow first through Henry Parmain. A few tries to his name this season so far. Rapid line speed from the Archers means Durham lose a couple of metres, and it's a turnover. Ooh, and a big hit on Harvey Scott to end that transition ball. Luke Northmore takes on the kicking responsibilities and sends a bomb into the Durham backfield, which evades Saul Melvin Farr. He's under pressure now. It's not a great kick. Can Cardiff Met capitalise now? But Melvin Farr's chased really well. Miles Rawson-Rudd surely offside there, and the referee agrees, sends a long arm penalty into the air.
Yeah, again, Joe, I think that's the difference at the minute. I think Cardiff Met exit strategies and getting out of difficult situations is a bit better. I kind of know the wind is for Cardiff Met, but I think at the minute that's the difference. I think Cardiff Met are kind of playing their conditions a little bit better. I think with the wind, I think Durham should kind of keep the ball, go through the phases, be patient. There's twice they've been in the Cardiff Met 22 now, and there's twice they've left the ball, and quite cheap easy outs for Cardiff Met.
As we get another chance to see the turnover from Cardiff Met, we'll see who it was. It looks like Rabazniak again. Yeah, of course it was. He's crucial at open side flanker for Met, with plenty of positive impact so far. The line-outs for the first time malfunctioning while we were watching the replay. A little knock-on, and Durham with a chance to clear the decks, providing the scrum goes to plan. It was a steady one last time. Josh Basham picked up from the back, the decorated age groups man. I think he'll want to keep it a little bit tighter and not look for a miracle offload on this occasion. Alex Key, his coach, he knows a thing or two about back row play, probably hopping up and down at the sight of that bit of skill. Durham get it clear, and they carry into the Met midfield. Harry Johnson and Jack Wright deal with him. Then it's Jack Arthur's turn to put a tackle in. Elliot teases forwards up. Again, who are met by a Met wall. But once again, they stray offside. Someone needs to grab by the scruff of the neck and say, just take a yard back.
Yeah, again, they can't keep. Durham are going to keep capitalising on this now. You know, I think Cardiff Met are giving them easy outs in difficult situations. I know the weather is for Durham at the minute, for Cardiff Met at the minute, but I know the penalties are giving them easy outs and allowing pressure to be relieved.
It's giving them easy outs, but they're not being punished to the maximum as they should be at the moment, because Durham's kicking game is misfiring. As Oscar Bowe probably has the most difficult throw on the pitch, right in front of the Archers Ultras. It's from a position where he threw one stray earlier in the match. And history repeats itself. It's difficult when you've got the pots and pans in your ear and the wind blowing in your face, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah, it is difficult when the wind is kind of blowing like that. You know, I think they've been successful and they reverted to the front for the last couple of tours. They have been successful and they've gone a bit front middle-ish, but the wind has caught hold of that really, and has made it not straight.
It's a bit like a beach ball at the seaside for Oscar Bowe at the moment, which gives Met another chance to put some play together. They've been a little bit impatient so far. We see Northmore lined up at first receiver, Harry Johnson out the back. What are we going to see them do here? It's a steady scrum. Marsh shows and goes. Tackle to the ground, they're on the 22. It's a short pick and go from the Archers, with Marsh controlling things at the base again. Harvey Scott, another try scorer in this fixture last year, carries. As the referee awards a scrum there, it looked like the Durham man couldn't get out. Met looking for a penalty, but the referee adjudicating that it was impossible for him to roll away from the contact.
Yeah, that was a great carry then by Harvey Scott. I think in conditions like this, it's important for the latch important player to get over the ball early and maybe give him some go forward, so it's not just one person carrying it, it's the defence again, two going forward. So I think there was a great carry then, but whoever was on the latch then and sealed that ball off nice and quickly was done their role and done their job.
The Archers backline very flat here. Luke Northmore beginning to edge forward. He takes it directly from the number 8, Dan Thurston. He's getting a shot in the place of Will Gibson, who's been one of the best performers, as Harry Johnson finds a little bit of space out wide. They're 15 metres out. Marsh finds one of his runners. That's Harvey Scott. The ball dislodged, but it goes backwards. Again they carry. They're in front of the post now, again 15 metres out. They're finding yards difficult to come by. As a player comes over the top illegally, this is going to be a free shot. This is their chance. The penalty advantage is there. They've got runners coming, flooding through. And first and foremost, it's Jack Wright, but amazingly, he's tracked down a metre short. Composure's needed here. It's with the forwards, it's dislodged, it goes backwards, loose, they pick it up. And again, Durham prevail. There's so many men out right, but with the line and the options begging, Johnston fumbles the ball. He had 4 men to his right, and it's a try-scoring opportunity gone begging. They have the consolation of the penalty, but that was the time, wasn't it, Alan?
Yeah, it was a great initial carry by Jack Wright. I think he ran some weak shoulders and managed to get over the gay line and managed to break and have a clean line break. But you know, it was unfortunate that he weren't able to finish that off.
We're going to see a scrum here, centre of the field, 15 metres out. Luke Northmore has found so much penetration when he's received the ball flat. Last time he took it directly from Dan Thurston. So many toppings for this Met attack. From set piece, they just get one right. You think it's inevitable that they're going to flood through to the line. And it goes to Northmore, who steps inside but dragged down by the covering flank. Jack Arthur this time, it looks like. One out play so far, Eddie Baloko, crowd favourite. He gets a carry under his belt, and it's to Johnston, who looks for Jack Wright coming on the cut, but it's forced and it's shoveled, and there's just not enough time as we get a chance to go back down to the touchline with Alex.
So Danny, tonight, how much of the conditions, I mean it's raining and it's windy, how much are they playing havoc with the game? Because you've had 2 chances there in the 22 and 2 drop balls.
Yeah, they're not ideal, and the conditions, the wind, the rain have played an impact. However, that's sometimes what you've got to play rugby in, and I'd like to have seen us being a little bit more accurate and look after the ball a little bit better than we have.
Has there been a tactical change for you tonight with the weather being like this and the ball being stopped by the wind as much as it is?
We're trying to keep things fairly consistent in the way that we're approaching things, and Leeds Beckett last week, and hopefully trying to do the same tonight. But so far, we've not been at the races really.
And 10 minutes before half-time now, what will be the words to the boys at half-time?
Well, we've given ourselves a fairly big hole to get out of. 3-0 with 10 minutes to go. We'd be looking to get a few more scores on the board, and it'll be a tough second half. But that's all part of the game.
Well, Danny, best luck. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear from Danny Milton down there on the touchline, and Alex is our roving reporter this evening, a student here at Cardiff Met on the broadcasting course run by none other than Joe Towns, a man who's been in the business for many years and described as a big dog when I brought him up with someone the other day. So Alex doing a great job down there, and it's also giving Alan and I a chance to put our hands in our pockets when she's down there. It is bitterly cold here at Kincoid, and that's probably a reason why we're seeing so many handling errors, albeit Cardiff Met being the ones who are coughing them up as Durham look to carry out, and they produce their own handling error. I cursed them a little bit there. Due to the wind, it looks like they feel that they have to take on the carrying responsibility and just grind their way out.
Yeah, I think both coaching staff half-time will just be talking about respecting the ball a bit more. I think controlling the controllables really. I think, forcing the offload which wasn't on and making that pass wasn't on is not helping anyone. And I think both teams are kind of being sloppy with the ball really. So I think moving into the second half, I think it's just about respecting the ball a bit more and maybe going through the phases, and hopefully something will arise from that then.
Well, we spoke about the frosty fingertips that are out there, mainly yours and mine, Aled, but this was the crucial play where we saw Met on the charge, the line begging, Jack Wright with a trademark run, and what a try-saving tackle from Fitz Harding, the England Counties under-20s man. Unbelievable tackle with Jack Wright for all money looking like he was going to cross. But Met will again have a chance to attack the Durham line in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, brought to you by Yoti, as the ball works its way to the back of the scrum, and Marsh finds Johnston, who finds Northmore on a switch. Ball securely into contact from pace. Chris Lewis from the blind side. This is better from Cardiff Met. They look a lot more organised. The ball looks a lot more secure as it goes to Rabazniak, the man of the quads, the man of the glutes, according to Alid here. And they carry short, but Durham have an answer for every time Met knock on the door. They've tried the battering ram, they've tried decoding the alarm, but they cannot find access to the Durham try line at the moment as a thunderous hit comes in from Josh Basham. Cardiff Met have been driven back beyond where the initial scrum took place, but it looks like there could be a bit of space here now on the left-hand side. A hint of crossing, John Darcy doesn't call it. Luke Northmore fumbles but kicks it. But he wasn't in control. He thought, the crowd thought, that he'd gotten away with it as he barged over. But the referee was wise to it, and again, a chance goes begging.
Yeah, to be fair to Luke, on a normal day in normal conditions, I think that kind of stuck and he could have got on the outside of that man, but I think with the wind and kind of how the ball is sticking at the minute, it didn't really come off for him. But it was unlucky as the intent was there, and hopefully Cardiff Met will go again. But again, I think it's for Durham now to exit out the year and be patient really, and kind of claw their way out to this 22. I think kicking out to this 22, maybe hang their high, is not the best option at the minute. I think it's to go through the phases and maybe keep the ball in hand and get their way out there.
Easier said than done, as we've seen so many handling errors in this first 40. With 5 minutes to go, I'm sure people are a little bit sick of us speaking about the conditions, but Cardiff Met lead 3 points to nil. This certainly is not a 3-point win, and there's going to be a lot of work for the home side to do after the half-time, of which they'll be staying on the pitch just for 5 minutes and getting right back down to it. And that's a strong carry from Rostron Rudd. We haven't had the chance to say his name too much so far. I mentioned his opportunism in the build-up and his gift at being there at the right time. Chris Ashton-esque in some of his try-scoring habits, and that is an excellent exit.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great exit. That's exactly what the Durham staff will be looking for then. Some great strong carries to get initially over the gain line, and hopefully poke the ball behind there when the defensive line is a bit disjointed. So exactly, they need to keep that up playing in for the next 6 minutes now. If they do need to exit again, that is the way they should be going forward.
Pressure on the Met throw, but the line out has really been purring all night. Only one going against them, and once again a bomb is sent up into the night sky, but Tom Lewis is there to clean up the debris and carries back strongly. He's met by Jack Wright, but wrestles himself to the floor, and Paddy McJewell throws a wide one to his outside centre, who carries back inside. This is better from Durham. Some phases being put together as they look to zigzag back to the blind. Paddy McJewell, fast hand. There's men to the right, cut back inside from Fitzharding, the man who put in that try-saving tackle just a moment ago. And McJewell darts through. Fantastic tackle from Cochrane. But isolated. That is the strength of the chop, that when you're dragged down, you've nowhere to go, and if there isn't a man on your shoulder, you're liable to a penalty, with breakdown experts like Rabazniak sniffing around. Four minutes remaining. Cardiff Met 3, Durham 0 in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture brought to you by Yoti. Durham steal the Cardiff Met line out, but it bobbles loose to a Met hand who promptly knocks it on, and it's back in Durham hands. It's scrappy, but the ball has gone loose, and now they've got space. Fitzharding again, what an impact he's having in this first half, defensively and now attacking. As McJewell puts the grubber in again, it's a tactic we've seen time and again so far this half. It's starting to work for him more and more. But the Archers with the ball in hand, and they break down the right wing. The inside pass by Jacob Collin covering back. Welshman himself from Landrillo. You have to check my pronunciation of that there, Alid.
Yeah, Landrillo. Yeah, you can add less to it than double L's.
Yeah, a lot of double L's. It's partially charged down, but it breaks to McJewell, and he's in open field, and he's got support from Rostron Rudd, who's hammered by George Gladding. But there's still danger. Met need to be aware as Durham continue to probe, this time down the left side, but they go more central this time. It's in the hands of McJewell, the orchestrator of the attack.
Yeah, the last couple of phases I've been impressed with Josh Bash and the minute he's been getting over the gain line. I managed to give Durham the front football that they've been crying for all game at the moment.
A little bit static there from McJewell, but he starts to get some momentum through his big men once again. Markham, this time with the carry. Cochrane again with the tackle. His defence has been impressive. And that's one hell of a line by Chris Johnson. But the door is slammed shut by the Archers.
But again, that's exactly what Durham would have been looking for, really, to get it, just keep the carries nice and short, just get over the gain line, be proactive on the floor, look for a long present and kind of get a quick ball looking from here. So, you know, I think Durham's tactics and game plan over the last 5-8 minutes have been spot on, really. So hopefully they can carry this into the last 2 minutes of this half.
Well, with a penalty right in front of the post and the clock, you can bet your bottom dollar that they'll be going for the sticks. And 3-3 at the break. They will be delighted with that, having spent such large swathes of the game in their red zone. Markham down once again. There's also a Met player down. Things not looking too seriously as we get a chance to have a look at the replay. Became a bit static for Durham. They began to get a bit more momentum, and then it was Chris Johnson, I think, coming on this short ball at pace after this breakdown where Markham carried. Absolutely clattered by Cochrane. He's been fantastic in defence tonight.
Yeah, he's been getting the low chop tackles in, which allows the likes of Bazniak and Harvey Scott to get over the ball and compete. And if not, they're not winning the penalty, they're slowing the ball down, allowing the defensive line to get back in shape and be well organised.
One and a half minutes remaining on our clock. The clock is red in the stadium, and Kipper Fawcett has the chance to level the game at the death before the whistle. And he strikes it straight and true to level the game to Cardiff Met 3, Durham 3 in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture brought to you by Yoti, as the crowds try and inject a bit of life into their team, who were looking a bit flat after conceding that penalty. 3-3 was not part of the game plan when they came into this opening salvo. As Cochrane puts another hit in on Basham, who, as Aled said, has been everywhere so far this half. They're deep in their 22, they go for the box and it's skewed off the toe. And there'll be a line out just outside the Durham 22. A last chance for Cardiff Met to stake their claim in this half and try and get across the whitewash. Minimum a penalty. Again disrupted by the away side, and it's a wrestle, it's a fight to see who's going to take it. The referee has his arm out because Durham have dragged down the jumper in that line out. That's how they managed to disrupt it. Penalty for the Archers. Johnson inquiring how much time does he have, and there's time for the line out. This, provided it goes into touch, which it does securely, is arguably Cardiff Met's finest attacking opportunity this first 40.
Yeah, 5 metres out, the driver lineup was very successful against Leeds Beckett last week, so hopefully they can come up with some sort of strike move or some sort of good platform now to get over the line.
The line out's taken, Rabazniak peels off under pressure from the Palatiner. He's taken by two men, but he's still got the ball as Marsh fretfully searches for the ball. It's a low pass. It's just about held on to by Met. Low chop coming in from Durham there. They've taken a leaf out of Cochrane's book, who's on the carry here. And the defence has been imperious so far from Durham this game. Can they hold out for these final few seconds of the first 40 to go into the sheds, 3 apiece. As we see another spill from Met, the referee's arm is out for advantage. The order of the day from McJewell will be to put this out across the touchline and bring an end to a first half that Durham will definitely be happier with.
Yeah, both teams have been kind of inaccurate really in the first 40 minutes. You know, it is down to the weather, down to the conditions, but I think there's one message for both teams going into the second half now is kind of respect the ball a little bit more and, you know, be a bit more mature in the game plan and how we exit and how both teams are kind of conducting themselves really. But yeah, you know, it's all set up for an exciting second half.
Well, so no try lights to bring you from this first half in the BUCS Super Rugby fixture brought to you by Yoti. It is Cardiff Met 3, Durham 3 down at King Coy, while we hear from those sponsors, Yoti.
It was so much easier because I had already set up from the app about 3 months ago actually when it first came to the island.
I really like how simple it was to use.
It's the kind of convenience we want in this holidays that we live in.
Like, you don't really want to carry your passport around on night out, you're always going to have a phone on you.
The convenience to be able to go up and get my phone and just scan a thing.
It's just easy, you have all your stuff in one place.
And it makes life a lot easier when you're trying to prove your age and quite versatile as well.
Yoti, the people who have been supporting this league since last season, taking it to the highest of heights. More spectators coming to BUCS Super Rugby games these days than they are the Championship. Such is the fervour for this league, the launch pad to greater things for a lot of these young players. One of them, who you played with last year, Alid, who you caught up with at the weekend, Alex Dombrandt, the poster child for Cardiff Met, now playing for Harlequins, scored a try at the weekend. He's already got a first team try under his belt. What a story.
Yeah, you know, it was nice to see him really over the weekend. It's nice to see him settled up in Guildford, and you know, he's obviously producing on the field, which is always a bonus. So yeah, everything's going well with him.
Great to hear. Right, so as I mentioned, not many try lights to bring for you here from King Coy, but there certainly were a few in round 6. There's a little tips, it goes out the back door, it's going to go wide, a missed ball out to the man of the swerve, he sells a dummy, gives the fan, and he's in to open his account. But again, inaccuracy, and here if they can transition it quick enough, Hockery have got a chance to attack, as Irving Murick bounces his first one, bounces the second, he's swerving, he gives the offload, there's a man on the inside, it's Toby Bella, who lights up Gilman's ground with a diving score by Burnett. A crucial intervention. Berg finding a Fantini on a line against the grain. He puts the footwork in.
That doesn't make tries of the week. I don't know which sort of try would.
So some tangible proof there that this league does produce some stunning tries when the conditions are fitting for it. And the half time has come to a close. Those round 6 results there really put a bit of shape to the league last week with Bath going top. Bath very much the surprise package for a lot of people this year, but playing some fantastic rugby, and Cardiff almost defeating the mighty Exeter, missing out 27-33. But our focus is here down in Kincoid. The ball is in Paddy McJewell's hands of Durham, and he sends it long into the hands of Harry Johnston. He'll want a better half, having dropped a couple. And really, it's Durham's chance to attack all game, because this wind, this rain is driving left to right from your screen. But that's a good exit from the newcomer on the wing, George Gladding.
Yeah, I think Cardiff maybe have learned and took things in the perspective, really, and maybe your kick chase maybe have to be long and on and back your kick chase to kind of get your turnover in midfield, maybe not the high hanging kick and challengeable kick.
Okay, well, Alex is down on the touchline. Let's see
Alex,
what she has.
the conditions pretty miserable here tonight. I mean, how pleased were you with that first half performance, though, given that Cardiff Met were in your 22 so much?
Yeah, really pleased. Great day. Great energy. Worked really hard. Just got to make sure we repeat it now.
With a crowd like this here at Cardiff Met, how difficult is it to come here, being the away team?
We need to come back and do this after it.
What were the words from you at half time to the players? What did you want them to do now?
I just want them to do exactly the same again, which is same energy. Make sure we get the clears in, play in the right places, just keep the energy high.
And at the end of that first half, going into the team talk, I saw you having a quick word with the ref and the linesman. What was that all about?
No, just clarify that we were doing everything okay for him.
Cool,
don't want to go on the wrong side.
Well, Alex, best luck for the second half. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alex Key justifiably stoked by his team's first half performance. His biggest concern, his tan being washed away by this driving rain here tonight in Cardiff, I think, because his team are doing him proud. But they're defending at the moment as Cardiff Met bring the ball out of the scrum, and Jack Wright does what he does best, and he barges through and finds support in the shape of Luke Northmore, who will not be stopped as he slides in and lights up Kincoid.
Yeah, that's a great initial carry by Jack Wright again. I think, just keeping it tight and getting over the gain line just allows you opportunities to kind of get out off the shoulder offload, and a great support line by Luke Northmore and a great finish.
Well, Jack Wright doing exactly what he's in the team for, a bulldozing run that was too hot to handle from the Palatinate, and Luke Northmore, a man who cannot stop scoring at the moment, the England student staking a claim to the jersey once again this year with an expert assassin-like finish. And Cardiff Met, what a start to this half. They lead 8 points to 3, the kick to come. But in the most testing of conditions, Matt Marsh comes to try and assist his number 10. He waves him away. He says, "I've got this, boy." Let's see if that's the case, because he's got a hurricane to get this ball through first. Well, he had the distance, he had the right trajectory, he had the right idea, but his radar for accuracy slightly off as we get another chance to see this bulldozing run, and Northmore just took one step that was too hot for Saul Melvin Farr. And after Alex Key compliments his team on what they delivered in the first 40, a couple of slip tackles opened the door for Cardiff Met to ultimately stroll through at the end there. And this exit is all crucial. The most vulnerable time for teams when they've scored. Matt Marsh, a bit of a ropey box there, but it's messy from Durham. And I can't emphasise enough how driving this rain is. It's shaking our camera at the moment, which is why you're getting the rattling lens effect. But it's picking up Rawson Rudd, who makes some valuable yards. And now Durham have their chance to shine. First time we've seen them in the 22 this half. McJewell pulling the strings. Johnston on the run, putting his hand up for hard work once again. But a two-man hit stops him in his track. Fitzharding now, his back row accomplice. That crucial tackle in the first half. Has he been held up? The referee says that was a maul. So despite the Platinum bringing it down, it's going to be a scrum to Cardiff Met, and they are so much more fired up this half, Alan.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if you can see on the screen, but Cardiff Met are putting a lot of people in the backfield ready for the kick. That does leave then the defensive line a little bit light on numbers, so I think Cardiff Met really need to be careful with that, that the Durham attack don't get on the outside by leaving a lot of Cardiff Met defenders in the backfield ready for the kick.
Yeah, that space exploited temporarily by Durham Rugby. Saw a glimpse of what he can do in the wide channels. Eventually dragged down, but it's the carries into contact and the double hit in this first 5 minutes that stood out for the Archers. And their scrum has been solid as a rock all game, but they're being marched back. Well picked up at the back as they go to the battering ram. Jack Wright, who steals valuable yards once again. And it's onto the boot, but that is a mistake from Tom Benjamin. Very uncharacteristic from a seasoned fullback, an influential senior player here. The ball carried back into the 22, and he called it a bit sweet.
Yeah, I think he should have been aware of that the ball was carried back in the 22, and that ball should have gone long and on really, and back the kick chase. But you know, things do happen and errors do occur, so it's about Cardiff Met now digging in and putting a good set in.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you've got so many elements to contend with, so much going through your mind, you're thinking how to kick the ball right. You become a bit disorientated at times, but they get a let off. The Durham line out is certainly a weakness for them in this game. We've seen lineouts be the Achilles heel of a number of teams. Northumbria last week against Hartbury, Leeds Beckett against Bath at the Rec a few weeks prior to that, and tonight it's Durham's turn.
Yeah, I think Cardiff Met should just stick to what's been successful with them at the minute. I think a nice exit by Jack Wright, carrying hard in the midfield, and hopefully then can set a nice kick, get everyone on their feet, and a nice kick chase then, and apply pressure in Durham in their own half.
As we see a crucial substitution here as Harry Johnston puts on a big warm coat, and he is replaced by Russell Bennett, the fresher, who's impressed in the Welsh leagues. He's featured in BUCS. He scored a lot of points against Loughborough in their home victory here earlier in the season, and he's got 33 minutes to stamp his authority on this game, manage a very, very technically difficult game, but one
yeah, I think it's
Danny
important
Milton has faith in.
I think it's important now for Russell to kind of just manage the game, really, not kind of do anything out of the ordinary, and anything that, you know, just stick to the process and kind of manage this forward pack around the park, and hopefully can kind of put them in the right areas of the field then.
Well, Dan Thurston carries like a rocket from the back of that scrum. Matt Marsh is charged down. It's cleaned up by Marsh himself. Well played.
Back front.
And with no scrum half there, Bennett goes in to play the 9 role.
Use it. Take it back.
Then finds himself in the pocket. Has a lovely connection, puts the ball high up on Melvin Farr, the man who was stepped for the try. And he is handcuffed by the man who stepped him. Luke Northmore is harassing Saul Melvin Farr at the moment in defence and offence. And that is going to be a scrum down. Cardiff Met ball. Fantastic kick chase from the Archers.
Yeah, I'm quite disappointed in the way Durham have kind of managed this second half so far. I think what was going successful from in the first half was kind of foreign orientated carries, getting over the gain line and put them on the front foot. But with the win as well, I think they might be sitting back looking to put the ball behind Cardiff Met and hopefully force an error in the wrong part of the field. But I just think they should go back and stick to what was successful from, and that is nice strong carries getting over the gain line.
So Cardiff Met just eking up to the 10-metre line as we go to Alex, who's with the Cardiff Met coaches.
So
I'm just the backs coach for Cardiff Met now. Chris, just talk us through that change that you've just made there.
Yeah, all we're trying to do really is play to the conditions. We feel we just need to play in the right areas, put the ball in the right areas of the park. We feel Russ will do that with a kicking game now, and hopefully our kick chase game, as you've seen, will hopefully turn over ball, or we'll be in the right areas hopefully to manage this game like we did very well in the first half.
So with the conditions the way they are, they're looking for him to boot the ball a bit more in the second half then?
Play our way into areas to make those decisions. We were loose in the first half, didn't use those conditions well, so we feel we're comfortable with our defensive set, with our physicality, that provided we can play these conditions well in that area, we should come out alright.
And great to see that try there at the start of the second half. Perfect timing, just what you wanted, right?
Yeah, direct, strong carry by Jack, good support play by Luke. He finds the try line again, but that's hopefully now what we need to start to see ourselves doing in the second half better.
Great stuff. Well, Chris, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Chris there, a man that you were just full of compliments about, Aled.
Yeah, Chris Joe, he came into the squad last year, and he applied a lot of elements of the game that was very good, and he's a good manager. Comes up to you, speaks well, so I speak very highly of Chris. Yeah, very good coach.
Well, he's speaking very highly of the Met performance at the moment in this second 40. As Durham pin them back with another long kick, and here is the flyer wearing the number 11 jersey, George Gladding. Found himself isolated, caused Met to rush in for the clear out, came off their feet, and it's a penalty for Durham, kind of from nothing, but a great chance for the Platinate, who stick it in the corner very promptly.
No offences.
We've got two men down here at the moment, a Met man and a Durham player. Can't see who they are exactly at the moment.
Time off, boys.
Looks like Luke Northmore.
We got two boys.
The key cog in this Met machine. They won't want to see him go off. A try to his name. And some unbelievable defence too. As we get another chance to have a look at his footwork. Talk us through this, Alan.
Yeah, it was a quick initial carry, but Jack managed to go over the gain lane line when, and nice to free his hands and get a good offload to Luke. And he had a lot to do, he could have passed the ball and allowed George Gladding to go in, but some good footwork and good pace by Luke, as he showed for a number of years now in the BUCS Super Rugby.
Like any top try scorer, utterly selfish with the line begging. He wasn't going to give that to George Gladding. You see another angle here, and the offload from right under all that pressure, having made the initial bust, is so impressive, and they're probably the passes that weren't going to hand in the first half.
Yeah, that's something Jack has worked hard on over the last few months. Everyone knows about his ball kind of ability, but he managed to free your hands and get that offload on, just makes you that more rounded athlete, that more rounded player.
Oh, there he goes. We can give a little wave to the viewers at home. You can see us braving the elements just the same as the players out there. Do you know what? The weather's actually died down. We were getting blown left, right and centre before, but just when you get on camera, it all looks quite rosy, as Durham managed to keep the ball despite it going loose. But under pressure, they yield a penalty. And from prime time attacking platform, the malfunctioning line out once again hinders them, and Met get a penalty for an easy exit, which Russell Bennett puts his foot through as he made the touch. Yes, just about. As I'm reminded by my producer in my ear that the boys on the camera stands are having a much tougher time of it than myself. Sterling work from the boys in these monsoon-like conditions. You can see how well they're doing to keep the camera steady. Sure, there's the odd jingle and jangle, but by and large they're doing an unbelievable job of keeping us in this game, which Durham are fighting to do at the moment, as their errors are now the feature of their play. As Met's claimed the line out. The line out has been so impressive from Cardiff Met, bearing in mind the conditions, as there's a little bit of a breakaway. They'll want to get it to the back. Yes, they do. They smuggle it safe. This is going to be difficult to defend, but the Laurie Essenhigh, who's on for Matt Marsh, decides to take it out. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of spark, doesn't he?
Yeah, he'll keep them. He'll keep them ABC defenders occupied by his little snipes around the fringes, and hopefully that'll allow space then just outside them for a big forward to run in some soft shoulders and get over the gain line.
Okay, no advantage from the knock-on.
We see a knock-on in the midfield. Met have found a winning formula. Give it to Jack Wright. He's going to hit the hole. He'll try and free his hand, where Northmore will just be tottering on his shoulder, ready to score at a moment's notice. Doesn't come off this time, but it's certainly causing problems for Durham at the moment, as we're seeing a raft of substitutions at the moment. Luke Yendall, a man who's been involved in the Dragons 23s, Wales 18s. He's a fresher coming on to stake his claim as a youngster for the jersey. And you can imagine how drained these players are coming off. The fresh legs. The benches could be important here, couldn't they, Alan?
Yeah, as any other game of rugby, the bench is always plays a massive part. As soon as you get to this 55, 60 minute mark, it's always good to bring some fresh legs on and hopefully have a positive impact.
Well, a very, very nice kick from Durham. Puts the ball right back in the home side's court. Line out on the 22. Hopefully these changes don't disrupt the Cardiff Met line out that has been almost faultless across the evening. And as I speak too soon, the line out becomes disconnected, but Durham knock it on in their haste to claim the ball. Our ears are ringing with the chants of Take Me Home, Country Road, King Coy campus. The Archers Ultras are enjoying this so far, but there's still 24 minutes remaining of a tight BUCS Super Rugby fixture brought to you by Yoti. Cardiff Met 8, Durham 3. We were 3 apiece at half time, but a moment of brutality from Jack Wright created the hole for Luke Northmore to sidestep and swerve his way across the line. As they go to the blunderbuss once again, Jack Wright. He'll have earned a hot cup of tea by the end of the night, the amount of work that he's getting through. Tom Benjamin does well to pick up a low ball. Kicks it long, but he's hit late, says the referee, and there could be more retribution as well. The Durham player, Chris Johnson, throws his hands in the air. He can't believe it. We'll hopefully get to see a replay of that, because I was watching the ball sail long and high. Chris Johnson, a man who does the hard work, but he does the flashy stuff with the crucial tries. Let's see that again. It was a low ball that Benjamin struggled to pick up. Nothing malicious, but probably
a timing issue. I'd say probably pulled out, but in my book, maybe pretty harsh.
I think in the current climate that we find ourselves in, with high hits and late hits being such a hot topic of discussion, anything that's going to put a player's safety in danger is going to be punished. Unless you're Owen Farrell, of course. Which I felt was a legitimate hit, but you might disagree there, Aled. As the kick is sent long, just into the 22. Cardiff Met take it to a line out, and they are on the drive. Laurie Essenhigh is screaming at his boys, slapping the jersey, and they've got real momentum now. It's going to be unstoppable momentum as they thunder across the line, and the referee sends his arm into the air to wild celebrations from the Archer Ultras. And Cardiff Met have their second try of the evening, and they lead Durham 13 points to 3 with a kick to come and only 20 minutes to go. And we're going to have a replay to see who was at the bottom of that. The referee had X-ray eyes to be able to see that one grounded. Such was the heap of bodies, but look at that irresistible momentum from the Archers. Durham just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, you know, that's a great initial set by Cardiff Met. Managed to get a low body position, and then, you know, just got to be positive then, stay on your feet and kind of work your way towards the line. So yeah, you know, a great try, great forward orientated try there. So I think the pack and Ian Gardner will be pleased with that.
Ian Gardner's a man who loves the driving ball. As Russell Bennett tees up his first kick since coming on as a substitute, can he master the swirl? What a sensational kick from out wide into the eye of the storm and into a 15-3 lead for Cardiff Met over Durham in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture brought to you by Yoti. It was a Met player in a scrum hat who the lads rushed to celebrate with. We'll try and find out the scorer for you shortly. I think it was Jack Samuel. If anyone has more conclusive proof, then do tweet into us using the hashtag BUCS Super Rugby. As Durham chased this game now after such a strong 40 minutes where they were in the box seat with the wind behind their backs as well as in their sails. They find themselves 12 points down with a mountain to climb and a buoyant Cardiff Met.
Yeah, I think ever since that Luke Northmore first try, I think, you know, the kind of momentum shift, and I think Cardiff Met now are on the front foot really in defence and attack, and I think, you know, Durham need to revert to what was successful for them. Like I've repeated myself a couple of times now, they need to kind of go through the phases, kind of keep things tight, and hopefully then things will arise. But I think the Cardiff Met defence, the line speed, getting off the line, the nice leg chops, and getting Davin Rabazniak over the ball is kind of playing a big part in the success Cardiff Met are having at the moment.
As we see another shot at the late hit that yielded a yellow card for Chris Johnston. It really was the catalyst, because from that the penalty was sent into the 22, the line out was secured, and the rumble was on to stretch Cardiff Met's lead to 12 points. A contentious one that will have tongues wagging. Could he have pulled out? We'll never know. As Met go to Plan A, Route 1, Jack Wright, who loses the ball on this occasion.
Yeah, that's unlucky by Jack. You know, I think the initial carry again was good by him, and you know, he tried to free his hands, but it was just a kind of wasn't really on, and they managed to get a hand to the ball and managed to kind of just got the ball really. So you know, things are going well at the moment, again over the game line, but I think, you know, Durham need to up the game really defensively. We need to get off the line and shut this game line down, because Cardiff Met down a lot of success now.
As we see David Rubasniak leave the field of play and enter the fray, Joe Jackson, Mr. Dependable, here on a PGCE on the bench for the BUCS Super Rugby final last year. He's a man who's been brought on for one job, and that's to shore up this game.
Yeah, Joe Jackson, good consistent player. You know, every time he goes on the paddock, he's always given a consistent performance. You know, in defence he's very good, and in attack, you know, he'll get over the game line. So, you know, a great old head, good player to bring on, and hopefully close this game out for Cardiff Met.
Muscular defence again from Cardiff Met as Durham look to penetrate their line. It goes deep to Paddy McJewell. It goes back to their favoured game plan. Put it on the toe, make Cardiff Met play out. The play out they have so far as George Gladding takes a run and gives it to Jack Arthur from the next phase. It's amazing to think that when Met had the favourable winds behind their backs, they could not hold on to one ball. They couldn't string a phase together. Durham were the team to beat. Now the shoe's completely on the other foot.
Yeah, I think that, you know, defence coach Ian Gardner will be impressed now, but the line speed is getting off the line and applying the pressure on the Durham the Durham defence here.
Well, a lady who's right in the mixer of all the action is Alex, who's down on the touchline.
Well, as the condition seems to be getting worse and worse in this game, I think I'm probably looking like a drowned rat right now. I tell you, someone else who isn't very happy is head coach of Durham, Alex. He's throwing his arms and having words with a few of his coaches on the bench, especially conceding that try early on in the second half, then having to play off with the yellow card and then conceding another try. But 15 minutes to go, it seems he's asking himself just how is he going to stop this Cardiff Met side.
Great to hear from Alex. What a job she's doing down there. Too good a job in my opinion, Alex. I feel under pressure myself to perform with quality like that coming out of the Cardiff Met broadcasting ranks.
You know, speak for yourself, Joe. I think we're doing a right job here.
Hey, Alex, you're the only person who's been invited back this season. We're a dream team, like Sonny and Cher, I'd say. As we see Durham go on the run, they're trying to get some momentum and they get that through Matt Welsh. To Basham, so powerful, so influential in the first 40. We haven't seen enough of him in this half. Durham will be fighting to get his hands on the ball. A big hit stops the Plata in their tracks, but a cute ball off the top asks questions to George Cladding, who spriggles away. Oh, that was almost game over. It looks like it was offside, the ref is calling. The big hit, the low hit, put down securely.
I think it might have been a big hit by Luke Yandel. You know, he's a Welsh boy. He's came from St Genny's School, and you know, I think Ian Gardner has taught him Welsh in school. It's nice to see him come from St Genny's School up to Cardiff Met now, so they've known each other for a long time.
Interesting here. Durham looking to just erode this Welsh lead. Really crucial kick here from Kipper Fawcett, who's had a mixed bag of a game. The man from Waikato. He's responsible for the 3 points that are currently on Durham's ledger. And he's doubled the lead with this kick. The answer is yes, he can. Durham nurdling away at the Cardiff Met lead. They'll be pleased to have only conceded 3 points so far in this half, and really that's the only opportunity that Durham have had to trouble the scoreboard. They've got 13 minutes left. This is a huge last 13 coming up for both sides.
Yeah, hopefully Durham can take something from that now. You know, it's not too, the scoreboard ain't too far apart. Hopefully now they can play in the right areas. I think Cardiff Met are kind of exploiting, you know, the weak areas in the Durham attack. You know, getting off the line, shotting it down. But I think they just need to start playing more, less kicking. You know, Cardiff Met are putting their boys in the backfield ready for the kick. So I think there is options out in the wide channel, but you know, it's always difficult in this weather.
As Dan Kennick comes on for Sam Cochrane, who's a man who's really impressed me this game. Fierce and ferocious defence, and also he's doing his job as a ball carrier as well. I must as well give a rap to the Pinpoint crowd. Quiet, deathly quiet for the opposition man kicking, which is lovely to see in here. The line-up's been under pressure all night. They come up with the goods at a pivotal time in their 22. They get a bit of a drive on. Cardiff Met not committing many men to the drive, but they're going to want to now because they're over the 10-metre line and almost up to the halfway. What a return. And it cannot be stopped.
Yeah, it's like any successful driving line. I do get that you win that initial hit, you set yourself nice. You know, you're always on to a winner there.
So that to get a 50-metre return is largely unheard of in the modern game. As Cardiff Met looked like they might have strayed offside there at the back feet. The referee pointed them accusatory, and we've gone wide. Kipper Fawcett wrestled into touch and into his own substitute, Luke Northmore, again with a crucial intervention. He's been down a couple of times with injury, but but you cannot keep this good man down for long. What a player.
Yeah, you know, he has a lot of height for his attacking play, but you know, you speak to Luke himself, he's very good defensively. You know, he talks out in the wide channels, and he's able to get out the line and spook the opposition attack. So yeah, you know, he's a whole-rounded player really, not just his attack, his defence is very good as well, and he's working on it week by week. So you know, he's a great player.
So some fresh legs coming on for Durham as well, in the shape of Marin Hoos, the Dutchman who's been living in New Zealand for the last 7 years and looking to make an impact on this game, because Durham really need it. Met beginning to wind the clock down with 10 minutes remaining, 9 points the difference, as they build their own formidable drive to answer. Whoa, a risky tips that comes off, and that is athletic stuff from the substitute Will Gibson, a man who has been performing arguably the best out of any Met player across the league. He'll be disappointed to be missing out from the starting berth tonight. Dan Kennett, another man, the fresh legs beginning to tell in this game. But one man who has been ever present, ever willing, takes the ball in there, Harvey Scott, but the support is lacking. And it's a penalty on the halfway line to Durham. The ball goes into Kipper Fawcett's hands. He's going to look to pin this one into the corner. I speak too soon. He is going for the posts. An ambitious effort from 52 metres being lined up. He's kicked 2, he's missed 1, and this is by far the most challenging effort of the game that he'll have taken on. Couldn't ask for a better view of this from our cameras. 5 metres from the centre spot, 52 metres out, 3 points at stake. The deathly silence over Kincoy. But he miskicks it. It's a scuff. To the delight of the home crowd. And Cardiff Met dot the ball down with a 22 to come. As we have a score update from the northeast, where 20 minutes have gone, but are we seeing an upset on the cards? Because Northumbria trail New Boys Cardiff 3 points to 5. The only try going to the men from the diff. Could it be a Cardiff double this evening? A long way to go in that game, and Northumbria free scoring try lovers themselves. We'll keep you posted as we progress through the last 10 minutes here. As a big carry is dealt with by the midfield of Cardiff Met. A little cramp for room Durham here. They struggle to squeeze the ball out, but they do eventually. And Jacob Collin is calling the shots from 9 here, managing the game very nicely indeed. Paddy Jewell slips it out the back door to Rawstron Rudd. Who uncharacteristically knocks the ball on. This is a crucial point in the game. What do Met do here? Do they attack, or do they just look to go through possession as Luke Northmore departs the field of play? Every Met player is coming up to him to shake his hand. What a shift from the England student. But he is being, but let's hear from you, Alan.
Yeah, you know, Luke's been tremendous today, you know, not so much in attack as well, but defensively it's been quite a defensive orientated game, and you know, he's got off the line well, and he's shut a lot of options down in the wide channel, so you know, a very decent performance by Luke today, and he'll be impressed. He's a very modest boy, you know, he's always hard on himself, but today he'll have have a beer after the game, and it's a job well done for it from a personal note.
But do be excited about his replacement. Wearing the number 23 jersey, Barry Correa. I saw this man last year in December in the RFU Champions Trophy final, where he put in a man of the match performance for Blundell's School against Dulwich in a losing cause. He's on the books at Exeter Chiefs. The man can carry, the man can fend. He's got silky footwork, and boy, does he have a nice offload on him. You can see by the way he's built that the Durham defence have two juggernauts to deal with now. So let's hope we get the ball in his hands nice and quickly. And he lives up to my billing and bursts through and creates a bit of magic and a roar. As Met settle for the scrum, so did Durham. The scrum has been solid for both sides all game. But as I speak, the scrum goes down, and referee John Darcy awards a penalty to Met. And if this goes over, this could be the game.
Yeah, since Luke Yandell's come on, he's steadied that scrum up. You know, he's had 2 penalties now, and he's managed to come on and produce where Cardiff Met needed him. So since he's come on, he's had a really positive impact.
Very positive impact indeed in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, brought to you by Yoti. An inauspicious 40 minutes has been followed by one that we never thought we would see coming. Into the rain, into the wind. Met have got their game together while Durham's has crumbled. Leading by 9 points. 6 minutes left on the clock. Russell Bennett, fresh off the back of nailing a kick from the touchline, has this to potentially put the game beyond doubt.
Fucking nudge Russell!
He's got the direction, but it gets held up in the wind and drops just short. And there is an urgency about Durham as Paddy McJewell kicks it long, but Tom Benjamin is back there to counter with verve as he splatters a couple of would-be Palatinate defenders. And Met again look to build their way out through tight carries from their big men. They've really stepped up in this second 40. It's been a much more coordinated attack as the ball slips loose. Laurie Essenhoy puts the boot in, but it slipped forward initially from a knock-on. Now, with Cardiff Met 2 scores in the clear, 5 minutes from the conclusion, I come to my co-coms, Alan Evans, to select his Yoti man of the match. I've got an inkling of who it might be, but talk us through some of the candidates.
Yeah, I think Harvey Scott has had a great game today. Defensively getting off the line, he's put a lot of positive impact shots in, which has stopped Durham in the tracks. And the likes of Jack Arthur again, he's put a shift in both defensively, offensively. But I think my man of the match today is going to Luke Northmore. The try he scored, and his man management of the game, and he's an old head out there, and I think in defensively as well, he's put a shift in for his whole performance. So my man of the match today is Luke Northmore.
Luke Northmore, the Cardiff Met number 13, the try scorer who turned the game, the Yoti man of the match, currently wrapped up in a nice warm subs jacket, a well-earned duvet for him after a big shift out in the midfield, defensively and offensively, as the clock begins to wind down with 3.5 minutes from the whistle. We've got a couple of scrum resets which will suit the home side, as Durham have brought on a replacement at 10 for Paddy McJewell. Can he have any influence on this game? Time's running out. But Charlie Sporforth won't get a chance to have any impact on it, because it's another penalty for the front row of Cardiff Met, and they've squeezed Durham out of the remaining 7 minutes of this fixture.
Yeah, that's another scrum penalty, and I think it's Luke Yandel again. You know, he's been very impressive. Ex-St Kenneth boy putting a shift in.
Well, a hearty touch finder from Russell Bennett to take Met all the way up to the scene of where they built the driving maul that really was the nail in Durham's coffin when they scored their second try. Driven all the way from the 22, they amble up with all the time in the world to take this set piece. The clock is ticking down into the red in the stadium. I think we've still got a bit more time, and Durham would think that they've got time to attack as Barry Carrere puts a big hit on Matt Welsh. And it's defensive duties and a shout of no penalties for the Archers from here on in. Was that a little bit high? The referee's arm out, probably for penalty advantage. As Jack Hutchinson heads back into heavy traffic, Jack Arthur rather unsportingly launches the stray boots of another player to the sideline. No one's come to claim it. Every player is staying on the pitch to fight all the way to the death. Durham tiptoed down the left touchline. It's to the new 10, who finds a big runner in Fitz Harding. What a performance he put in the first 40, but he has been nullified by the rampant Met defence ever since. Durham finishing with a flourish at the moment. They're looking for a bonus point. It looks like it'll only be a losing bonus point available to them as we enter the last minute of the game. The referee brings the play back once again for a penalty to Durham on the halfway line. It's a long way to go. They've got the losing bonus point in their sights. Can they come away with something from this game? As the referee goes to his pocket in the dying embers to yellow card Russell Bennett, the Cardiff Met number 10. Cardiff Met will be reduced to 14 men for this last period. And it's in the hands of Fawcett, who's eyeing up the touchline.
Yeah, I think Durham will be looking for this losing bonus point now. I think, you know, as the season go on, these 1-2 pointers, you know, will come into play. So hopefully now they can string something together and get this losing bonus point.
Well, you're absolutely right about the losing bonus point, because at the moment, prior to this game, Durham were ahead of Cardiff Met by virtue of bonus points. Each one counts. I spoke about how congested the table is, how competitive the league is. I don't think you'll be seeing teams go throughout the season without losing 3, maybe 4, and that even goes for the eventual champions. And the Durham line out, the line out that has been faltering all night, goes into the hands of the Archers, which finds its way into the hands of Laurie Essenhigh, who boots it triumphantly into the stands, and it signals the end of this BUCS Super Rugby fixture, brought to you by Yoti, where it's the Archers who are on target. Cardiff Met 15, Durham 6. So, the songs, the clattering of pots and pans, and the throwing of beer around Kincoid from the Archer Ultras, as Durham really had the game in their hands at 40 minutes. But an inspired second half from the home side put paid to those titanic efforts.
Yeah, and I think Cardiff Met stuck to the basics then, really. You know, I think just getting over the gain line was key, and setting targets and then running offense. So I think, you know, they managed to deal with the conditions and, you know, the pressure of the game a bit better. So, you know, it's a full deserved victory for Cardiff Met, but, you know, it was a tough old game, and Durham Durham put a shift in as well, so Cardiff Met will be delighted to come away with a win there.
Well, the turning point was the Luke Northmore try, our Yoti man of the match, and we're going to take a look at that one. As Jack Wright really was the star of this try, as he burst through uncompromisingly through the Palatinate defence, and it was that little offload, that deft touch to release Luke Northmore.
Yeah, it was his ability to free the hands there was the impressive thing there, and managed to put Luke in a lot of space. Like I said before, Luke had a lot to do, and he showed good composure and good pace to get over the line, and set Cardiff Met on their way to a good victory.
That really was the turning point, as we see the reverse angle of Wright bursting through the tackle, and that was the crucial bit. That was the offload, the release Northmore, and he is deadly in normal circumstances. In the form he's in, he didn't need a second time asking to race across the line, and that really got the ball rolling for the home side, as we then saw them, after a contentious yellow card for a late hit, build them all, and it became unstoppable.
Yeah, like I said before, so once you get the initial hit on a driving line out, then you start to win that. You can kind of, get your body position right, then you start to get momentum moving forward. Like I said, it was a great initial hit won by Cardiff Met, and he was kind of directing the boys to get over the line there. So Ian Gardner will be very impressed with our driving line out and score to really put Cardiff Met away.
That really was the coup de grace for Cardiff Met. But talking about Durham, they're going to be so disappointed putting themselves in such a strong position at the half-time. They were by far and away the better side in the first half, and they had the platform, but it just fell apart for them. It was a shame to see for them.
Yeah, I was very impressed by the way they managed the second half of the first half, really. They started getting momentum, started shortening the game up, started gaining line success. But I think they reverted away from that, what was more successful for them, and they kind of come unstuck there, where Cardiff Met put a lot of people in the backfield, which their kicking game kind of went out the window there. So it was a good performance by Durham in aspects, but not enough to see it together victory away at Cardiff Met today.
So a big second half here at Kincoid after a first half which disappointed slightly. Very much the pattern in recent weeks, as we saw last week at Hartpury, where Northumbria were also the visitors. Pitched yet, but such is his presence in this Northumbria team, and also on the league. What a player, what a guy, as the ball is overthrown, and this is a chance for Hartpury now to get across the paint. There's a little tips, it goes out the back door, it's going to go wide, a missed ball out to the man of the swerve, he sells a dummy, gives the fan, and he's in to open his account of the evening and send the Gilman's crowd into raucous cheers. Of the swerve does it again.
That's absolutely brilliant. Great finish from Irv there, but great work from the forwards. I think it was Alex Gibson there throwing that ball out the back there. That was superb from counter-attack from us there.
Yeah, a really nice long miss ball there from Joe Margetts. Takes it to the line, no runners off him, so he has to put his head down. Not his favoured method of attack. As Whip is put on the ball once more, but again inaccuracy, and here if they can transition it quick enough, Hartpury have got a chance to attack, as Irving Murick bounces his first one, bounces the second, he's swerving, he gives the offload, there's a man on the inside, it's Toby Vella, who lights up Gilman's ground with a diving score from a turnover ball.
There we go, that was all started there from Irvin Murick. Absolute cannonball, amazing.
As they move to the back and they find their back marker, George Bordill, he takes the offload to Yari Fantini, who's so strong! And he scurries his way over through the tackle, staying on his feet, reaches out and says, game on Hartpury, 15 points to 8. With a kick to come.
Oh, that was a brilliant try. Well worked. Could see him there looking up, looking for space, and then he takes advantage of it. Great leg drive as well. Brilliant try.
Fantastic leg drive, just like scurrying that low centre of gravity. Concerted possession, and Fantini bursts through the middle, and there's some footwork as well. He needs some support. They're over the ball with a retreating Hartpury defence. Again to the second rows. Alan Gregory this time carrying, receiving it from Michael Walton, the man who can play back row also. Such is the dynamism in the forward pack here in Northumbria. Rudling's onto the ball, but he's tended to again. Howard's there at the breakdown. He's still hurting from that monstrous hit. But Northumbria retaining possession. They're looking good here. They're looking more complete. And they're starting to bristle a little bit more. Bragman again finds the ball. They burst through the middle. They need some support play, and it's coming in the shape of Jamie Ross. He's dragged down. They're 10 metres out. What can they do here? Bragman wants it. He shows the dummy. It almost opens up for him, but dragged down by Burnett. A crucial intervention. Berg finding a Fantini on a line against the grain. He puts the footwork in and takes the score level with a fantastic score. Northumbria have an answer finally for Hartbury's defence, and with the kick to come, they could take the lead.
Well, that's an outstanding try. Great build-up as well. You know, like we said, the moment you go six plus phases, you know, the spaces do open up, and that was a brilliant try. Well taken, brilliant step at the end there.
And Josh Hodge sneaks it past the right upright, and in the process takes the away side into the lead. It's Hartbury 15, Northumbria 17. Is he about to create a bit of try-scoring magic to back up the try that he picked up in this half, that he finished so expertly after the thrilling break? It's a penalty advantage, a shot to nothing from Hartbury. They go wide to their danger man, Irvin Merrick. Oh, but he's dealt with by 3 black jerseys on this occasion as Ollie Robinson flies into the breakdown. For Northumbria, he's looking to bring the energy that they need to see out this victory, a famous away victory at Hartbury. They did the double over them last season. They're looking for the double again this year. They currently lead by 2 points, but God, this is going to be the longest 6.5 minutes of their life at the moment, with just a 2-point cushion. 3 points separated these two teams at Kingston Park earlier in the season. Northumbria edged that one 38-35. And the roar will tell you, yes, we can. I can finally once again speak at normal volume. It is a deathly, deathly hush here at Gilman's ground.
Now on the ref's clock.
Surely the final play of the game. The scrum has been stable for Northumbria. Hartbury with a new front row. Will they have the juice to turn things around as Hartbury goes to the right? It's in the hands of Josh Hodge. He's been electric all night. He goes around Dwayne Burrows, whose defence has been imperious. And Hartbury turn it over at the very top. They put the ball out of play and they have squeaked this one. A point courtesy of the last minute nerveless kicking of Nathan Chamberlain. They turn it over, the crowd erupt, and Hartbury are the winners, 18 points to 17. So scenes there from Hartbury last week as they just pipped Northumbria in the big game, and it was scenes here again at Kincoid where the home side Cardiff Met trumped Durham 15 points to 6 in a nervy match with the momentum shifting try brought to us by the man standing here, Luke Northmore, our Yoti man of the match. Luke, how was that game?
Yeah, it was a tough one. You know, it was, you know, the weather conditions, you know, turned as the day went on, and we knew we had to bring a big physical type performance. You know, and the first half we kind of shot ourselves in the foot, not playing and taking the points when we should have. But credit to the boys in the second half. Thought we were outstanding. So.
Were you guys nervous at half time? Because this win, these conditions, to go in level, you must have thought we've got an absolute mountain to climb.
Not necessarily nervous. I think probably frustrated with how, you know, we were a bit inaccurate in the first half. We shifted a lot of points when we shouldn't have. Just knowing that we had a big task in the second half, so I wouldn't say we were nervous at any stage. You know, we back ourselves all the time. So.
We're going to hear from him in a second, but were there some choice words from Danny Milton to bring a bit more spice to the performance, because you were a different side after the whistle?
Yeah, we met up at half time and we just talked about playing in the right areas and bringing the dominant performance that we know we could bring. So I think that it's kind of a kick up the backside and we were flying for the second half.
Yeah, well, look, what do you think the strengths were in today's performance? Really, is evidence that the defence went well, but moving attacking wise, what do you think went well on the attacking front?
Yeah, I think probably just the recognition of having to tighten up and front up and get those front up guys. Eddie, Jack Arthur, Harvey Scott, they put the hard yards in. Cockers, they give us real good front football, and then Jack Wright carried outstandingly. So we just got to start taking our chances when they come, really.
All right, well, Luke, it was a virtuoso performance from you, and I've got your old mate Aled here to award you the new Yoti Man of the Match BUCS Super Rugby medal. Congratulations, I'll let you get off. And Aled, you stick around for a second, and I'm going to invite Danny Milton, the coach, and also Alex, our roving reporter as well, along here, who was doing such sterling work on the touchlines in quite challenging conditions. Danny, you're looking like you're wearing a big smile now, but you certainly wouldn't have been at half time.
No, I thought, actually the coaches got together beforehand to talk about the half-time message, and we're in a bit of trouble here. And we thought Durham had probably done enough. We gave away so many penalties in the first half and didn't really bring the sort of performance we were looking for. But then full credit to the boys in the second half, they turned it around.
So I get the feeling that you haven't clicked as a team yet this season. So is it pleasing to see that you can beat teams like Durham when you're not quite at the races so far? Is it just becoming increasingly frustrating?
Yeah, these games week on week are tough. You sort of get depressed looking at the fixture list because it's like, next week Bath away and the following week Loughborough, so yeah, it is frustrating we haven't clicked, but that's pleasing in a way because we are churning out the sort of results that we want, and perhaps one of these days we'll start to click, and maybe some of that attacking performance that we're probably lacking we'll see a little bit more of.
Okay, so Alex, you were our roving reporter down the touchline. Was he a cool customer or was he hopping mad for the duration of that game? Give us an honest appraisal.
He was a pretty cool customer tonight, I have to say. I don't think I've ever seen Danny lose his rag. I've been down here a few times now reporting on these matches, and yeah, Danny always seems a cool customer. Alex, on the other hand, the Durham coach, he was losing it a bit today, especially after that yellow card. We had arms flying in the air. I think we even might have had a few swear words flying around, but who knows?
I love a bit of home crowd honesty from our roving reporter. And Danny, what next for the Archers?
So we've got a game in the National Championship against Bedlin-Ogden. We've started the season well there, and then a big game against Pontypool. But I think it's exciting to think now Bath, who've really really improved and are looking at a good outfit, and that's an exciting game to look forward to next week.
Yeah, I think that's one that everyone's going to be looking forward to. All right, you're looking cold. Well done tonight on the performance. I'll let you sidle off to get back with your team. We'll just have a quick last word. Thank you, Danny. Alex, one last one with you. You were down by the touchline. What's the Kincoid atmosphere like? What's it about Kincoid that makes it such an impregnable fortress?
Oh, it's fantastic. Week in, week out. I think the thing that makes it is just the lower teams. You've got the seconds, thirds, fourths. They come down here and support. I mean, they had their pots and pans here tonight to make a heck of a racket. I mean, who does that? There's no other place, no other field, no other pitch, I don't think, on the BUCS table that does that. But I mean, every week, honestly, week in, week out, this place is a fortress, and it is a place to be on a Wednesday night under the Wednesday night lights.
So maybe the pots and pans will be becoming a trend. And last word from you, Aled. What do you think about the Archers this year? You captained them last year to Twickenham. Have they got it in them this year?
Yeah, I think momentum is kind of building really, and it's kind of the boys that kind of stick to the process really now and go forward. Like you said, it hasn't really sticked, and it's nice to see the boys winning against the teams like Durham and actually not being 100% at the races. But again, I think it's building nicely, and they'll be there and thereabouts towards the end of the season now.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ali. Thank you very much, Alex. We've loved having you all evening. So guys, that's a wrap here from down in Cardiff. But if that hasn't sated your appetite for university rugby, you can get the afterword in the podcast The BUCS Stops Here with myself and Dave Rogers. You can catch it on SoundCloud and on Acast. We are trying to get it onto iTunes, but I'm not technically gifted enough to do that. But we have interviews and tidbits from all the players and coaches. So next week's match, 6:30, same place as always, coming live down the stream. It's Leeds Beckett versus Northumbria. But from here at Castle Kincoid, Durham came down to try and storm the fort, but the Palatinate are the ones leaving blue as the Archers are once again on target in their march towards Twickenham. However, for everyone here at Kincoid, it's good night.
It was so much easier easier because I had already set up on the app about 3 months ago actually when it first came to the island.
I really like how simple it was to use.
It's the kind of convenience we want in this holidays that we live in.
Like, you don't really want to carry your passport around on night out, you're always going to have a phone on you.
The convenience to be able to go up and get my phone and just scan a thing.
It's just easy, you have all your stuff in one place.
And it makes life a lot easier when you're trying to prove your age and quite versatile as well.